Now, next this morning, we are talking about men's mental health. Look, often the advice is to open up, to try and discuss your emotions with friends, or in other words, not be scared of your vulnerability. But our next guest has, I think, more of a nuanced look at this, that instead, actually, the stiff upper lip that everyone says is a bad thing serves many men just fine.
Let's bring in Thomas Yarrow, Professor of Anthropology, who's conducted research which shows male friendships that centred around activities rather than purely on emotions are the most effective way to promote a positive state of mind. Thanks so much for joining us. Very good morning to you. So just expand on that headline point for us a little, first of all.
Good morning. So I'm not in any way opposed to men talking about their feelings and emotions. I think that's generally been a very good thing, and definitely as a counter the kind of stiff upper lip ideas that you mentioned in your introduction. But I think my point is that often that kind of confessional culture ends up missing and devaluing other elements of the ways that men connect with each other, and that often these are much more non-verbal, or they're talking about activities, shared interests, that kind of thing. So I think that could and should be a more central focus in these discussions.
I think it's really interesting. And you often see that, don't you? Like men going to a football match or playing around a golf or whatever it is. And actually that can be quite a bonding experience as well. Can you just tell us a little bit about your own story that shaped this research too? Because you've kind of got a personal backstory to this too.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm a professor of anthropology, and my bigger research interest is in the cultures of heritage. So really thinking about how contemporary identities and senses of who we are shaped in relation to our understandings of the past. But this particular piece of research, which was focusing on heritage theme railways, came about in the context of some personal issues that I was facing. Partly in the bigger context of the lockdowns, and then that intersected with the end of a 20-year relationship, and also a diagnosis. My son had a cancer diagnosis at that time as well. So there was quite a lot going on in my own life, and this railway became a real sanctuary for me personally. So a lot of what I write about is also stuff that I was going through and thinking about myself at the time.
Well, I'm so sorry to hear about that and what you've had to endure, and it makes me think of another point, which is, as you said at the top, it's been so great the way that as a nation everyone wakes up to how serious mental health is as a problem and the way that we all talk about it. But perhaps in that process we've made it sound like it's easy to fix as well. As long as you talk about it, then as in the same way that you break your leg or you have flu, there's a simple solution, which I think is really not the case. And so much of this comes down to then embracing connections and getting on with a busy life, as opposed to sort of hiding from it. I mean, is that a part of what you're trying to say as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And as I say, this isn't, I'm not arguing against that opening up at all, but I do think we've tended to pathologize other forms of connection and intimacy and relationship, and to see these as kind of outdated or outmoded forms of, particularly in relation to masculinity. I think it's become common to think of these as things that we need to kind of get over or get beyond. And in my own research, I mean, I was talking to and with a lot of men involved in these kinds of activities, but also my own experience was that these kind of practical everyday interactions were very personally therapeutic as well. So I think it's not a message against opening up or talking, but just that alongside that, I think we need to value these other kinds of, often silent forms of intimacy, which stereotypically are male, but they're definitely not restricted to men.
Yeah, I guess it's both genders as well, isn't it? I mean, is your message like it's okay to kind of be yourself in a way? Like if you are someone who balks at the thought of, spilling out your feelings over a cup of tea with your friend or going to a therapist, and actually all you want to do is crack on with your hobby with your mate and maybe have a silent, be in silence for 30 minutes, that's kind of okay.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely it. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to open up about these things, but it's also okay not to open up about these things. And of course, none of us open up completely all the time to everybody anyway. So I think, we all have choices about how and who we open up too. And I think for those who feel uncomfortable doing that, often it becomes an added pressure and can contribute to a sense of kind of failure. So I think, as I said, it's the broader narrative around this and the way that I think that can lead us to devalue other important kinds of connection and intimacy that are also going on.
Professor Yarrow, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.